Hello, and welcome back. If you are following my channel, you probably know that I built this little shutter tester a couple of days ago, last episode actually. It's an optical shutter tester. It's used to give you a broad evaluation of the shutter speeds. I'm not going to go into details, look it up, it's very interesting. It's easy to make, super cheap, it works. But it's time for the big guns, something more serious. Now, regarding shutter testers, there are plenty of ideas, recipes, and so on the internet, ranging from a single light source shutter tester, which I did one quite some time ago. Let me see if I have it around. Okay, this is it. Super dusty. And living inside two glow boxes, but that doesn't matter. So pretty much one box contains the LED and the other one contains the sensor. I think this one is the LED and this one is the sensor. It's an infrared LED. All right, and inside the boxes there should be an Arduino in one of the boxes. This is the Arduino Uno, I think. Actually, it's a clone of Arduino Uno because it's quite big and hefty. And the other box only contains the light and the cable needed to power the Arduino. And what I used to do was to actually put them something like this, with the camera in the middle, and I would trigger the camera, and this one was supposed to be connected to my laptop, and the Arduino interface would read me the values. Alright, so this is the simplest method of building a shutter tester. Obviously it doesn't have to look like this, but as an idea, as a principle of functionality. Okay, now the downside of a single laser or light source or single sensor tester is the fact that it will only measure light in one point, or light, yes, the light emitted by the LED, and that means that it can only give you a reading, a shutter speed for that one point, which translates as one of the infinite positions across the film gate. Therefore, it cannot tell you anything about curtain speed, curtain balance, and so on. Of course, you can take one reading on the left, right actually, one reading on the right, one reading on the left, and try to balance them, but that's quite cumbersome. The other method would be to build something like this. This is a two sensor shutter speed tester. So it has two laser modules, laser beams, and two receivers. This one will give you quite a lot of information about curtain travel time and so on, but this configuration is quite tricky to put in practice, because the emitter and the receiver must be perfectly aligned. Now the distance between the two emitters or receivers should be something like 32 millimeters. In my case it's only 30 because I think they shifted while I was gluing them, something happened anyway. This one is based on an Arduino Nano. And I will start this video by giving credits. Last time I did give the credits, but only at the end of the video, and it's only fair to give credits to the mastermind behind these projects. So Niglyn, thumbs up to you. Excellent work, keep it up. You are doing a very, very, very great service to the community. Obviously, links will be in the description as I did last time to all the resources needed to build this version or even better. Now, the latest version is pretty much completely different and it should be way, way, way better than this one. All right. So, before going into the parts needed, this configuration has this drawback that I was talking about, the alignment of the lasers and receivers that is quite difficult to make. The only advantage is the fact that it comes in a shape something like this. So everything is bolted down, more or less, to the same thing. Now it can be a piece of wood, it can be something 3D printed, it can be anything that keeps everything in position. It can be Lego. So a bunch of Legos that actually should work even better. All right, but the way shutter testers work, the professional ones, is a bit different in the sense that you have a little box that goes over. I should simply remove this focusing screen because I have no need for it right now and put it aside. Okay, much better. Okay, so you have a little box that you put over the film gate. The box contains the sensors and you have a light in front of the camera. That's a bit of a longer story with light intensity values and so on, but it doesn't really matter. You trigger the camera, the sensors read the light and give you the values. And that little box should have 3 sensors. So 1, 2, 3. But because you can have horizontal running shutters, cloth or metal, or vertically running shutters like the Copal square ones, you can't, I mean you can have a box with 3 sensors in a line horizontally or 3 sensors in a line vertically, but that's more work than needed. Or you can have a box with the 3 sensors diagonally placed, so 1 in top right corner, 1 in the middle, 1 bottom left. Actually, it doesn't matter if it's this diagonal or this diagonal, because the software knows how to read the order. Okay, that configuration, the diagonal configuration, can accommodate either of these 2 shutter types. The only drawback would be if, for instance, you would like to calibrate a camera like the Minolta 35 Model 2, something like this one, because .7, it should be 36, right? 35.8, but this one is only 34, because this one comes from an age in the history of photography and cameras when people did not afford film. I think that was the actual reason. They did not afford film, which, by the way, for those complaining that film is expensive, yes, film is very expensive, but it has always been expensive. Take the price of a film stock, you name it, it doesn't matter what film stock, from let's say the 60s. add inflation, and you will get pretty much the same price that a roll of film has today, more or less. But it's not like it got suddenly very, very expensive. All right, so this one has a film gate of 34 millimeters. That means that placing the sensors at 32 millimeters is quite tricky. You'd pretty much have 1 millimeter on the left, 1 millimeter on the right, extra space, let's say. And I don't think that's doable because the sensor itself has a certain dimension to it. So without taking this one in account and without taking medium format and so on, that has those cameras have a completely different size and shape of a film gate, but you should accommodate pretty much every possible camera, especially every 35 millimeter camera that you can come across. All right, so where was I? Long story short, we have these two options. The option with a box with a fixed set of sensors and receivers, or a version where the main box contains all the electronics and then a smaller box connects to the main box, and you also need a light source. That's the one I'm going to build for myself, because my plan is to have the bigger box in a fixed position somewhere in front of me, on the wall in front of me, that has the screen and everything. And from that box, with some removable cables, hopefully, although I don't really have all the parts needed for getting everything removed, but I can add them later. So with some removable cables to attach the sensor to that main box. All right. So what do we need? I have the list of things that I need, and I will start with box number one. This is box number one. Comes from the same place as the box I used in my previous project. It's a simple black box. Now, the size of the box, I think, is 151 by 83 by 80, something like that. And it should accommodate the brains, which is the ESP board, and some buttons and a display. All right. Where is the display? This is the display. I'm not going to go into the details, the technical details of every part, because everything is very well explained in the PDFs you will find linked in the description. So I just bought what the PDF said, no questions asked, I see, I buy, that's the principle. Okay, this is the display. It's a TFT touchscreen display. They also gave me this little pen, all right? And it should go somewhere here. I don't really know what's the top, what's the bottom. This is the bottom because it has some text on it. So it should go, this will be top bottom of the display box. This will be somewhere here. I will just put it like this so the pins don't interfere. I will try to make it centered this time. Okay, then you will need some buttons. In the description of the project, you need 5 push buttons and a potentiometer, how is it called? A rotary encoder. Now the rotary encoder, for the time being, as far as I know, has no purpose. So it is added in the design because it will be purposed later. I did not buy that one for some odd reason. because now I've got like a bunch of things that I still need to buy in order to have it complete. So the rotary encoder on my BOM, BOM bill of materials has a question mark. Now, aside from this LCD display or TFT display, you can also, aside from this TFT display actually, you can also have a smaller LCD display that's like a legacy display from an older Arduino version of the shutter speed tester that I will not use. You can also skip this one. I think this one is, actually I know, this one is the most expensive part of all. This is like $15, something like that. Everything else is cheaper. This one is the most expensive. You can make do without the displays, but then you always need to be connected to your computer. Now, I don't want to, obviously in some circumstances that might be a good option. Let's say you want to download all the results and make a file with the results to, I don't know, show to your clients or something. It doesn't matter. In that case, it's a good idea. But otherwise, this is all you need. My intention is to have this box somewhere in front of my eyes and just use it like that to calibrate my cameras, and that is good enough. And in case I want to export the data, then I will just take it to my laptop and do that, whatever. All right, so the LCD is purely optional, is obviously smaller, so less data will be shown, and it's useless if you have this one. I think, from what I have seen and read, I'd say it's useless. All right, next you need the brains, and this is the brains. This is the ESP board. It's an ESP32. It's way over my pay grade. I have no fucking idea what this is, to be honest, except that it's an electronic board and it controls the stuff, but I have no clue whatsoever what it does, how it does it. But this is what you need: the board, the expansion board, because it's obviously the easiest way to do things. Also, obviously, this one goes here, like this. This one will be mounted inside the box, and all the wires will connect to the various pins. The nifty thing about this is that you don't need to solder stuff to this one. So you'll just go and plug the DuPont wires that I'll show you in a moment, screw them down, that's it. So easy peasy. All right, maybe I should put some little ticks on my list so I don't repeat myself. So LCD, well, TFT in my case, check. Box 1, check. ESP, check. Expansion board, check. Okay, rotary encoder, not check, because I do not have one. Okay, wires. Now I have lots of wires. These are the wires that I bought now, but I have like a handful of them, various sizes and stuff from my previous attempts. Now these are the DuPont wires, and you get them, or you can get them, male to female, male to male, female to female, 10 centimeters, 20 centimeters, 30 centimeters in length, all the colors of the rainbow, doesn't matter. Obviously, having colored wires is a lot easier because you can obviously track them. So these are female to male, 10 centimeters, and I think these are needed to go from the TFT to the board. So I have 20, I think. This one has 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 pins. I don't know how many are used. We'll see. female part to the male connectors from the TFT, male ends of the wires to the screw sockets on the board. Then you also need, now I'm only quoting from the PDFs. We'll see if what I've got is correct or not during my build. These are male to female, male female, so everything is male female, but these are 30 centimeters, so they are longer, and I have no idea what they will connect. We'll see. Obviously this is just a showcase. I'm not teaching you anything because I don't really know what I'm doing yet, but so far I managed to finish this kind of project successfully by simply imitating from other people. All right, buttons, wires checked, buttons checked because I have them right here. There were 6 inside this little bag. The 6th one is the blue one that I used on my optical shutter tester, because the color blue is for the rotary encoder that I don't have, and the others, they are described in the PDFs just like this: white, yellow, green, red and black, if I remember correctly. So it's a lot easier for me to simply buy what's listed there and follow like a little monkey everything, so that I don't mess stuff up and I don't connect the wrong wire to the wrong pin, and hopefully I won't see any smoke getting out of my little board. Alright, then you need sensors. How many? Well, 3 of them. And the Chinese guys, they sell a set of 10. Now, in my stupidity, I thought it was a pack of 10 sets of receivers and transmitters. It's not. It's a pack of 10 in total, 5 receivers, 5 transmitters. I only need 3. But always keep in mind that you might get a dud one, so maybe it's already broken, or maybe you managed to plug one the other way around and it will go boom, I think. Anyway, so you should have 2 sets of spares. Or if you want to build, like in my case, because my target is to build this one and then build different modules for different needs. So maybe I will build a bigger one for 6x6 medium format. Maybe I will build a smaller one for half frame. I don't know. I'll think about it. And when the time comes, it's good to have the pieces needed. Alright, so this is the receiver and this is the laser. Okay. In my case, I will not need the lasers, I will only need the receivers, because the source of light is different, it's something else. Alright, what else? Resistors and capacitors, because although the receivers come with their little board, so they already have a board. In that little box that will be attached to the back of the camera, you don't have enough space for 3 boards like this. So instead of using the board, you will only use the receiver itself, and you will replicate what's on this board, meaning a capacitor and one of the resistors, because there is a reason that I don't know, because I have pretty much no knowledge of electronics, but I could trace this little board and sketch the schematics, and then I would realize that I would know if these 2 resistors are replaced by only 1, or anyway, or something else. But anyway, I would firstly need to check the PDFs and see exactly what the wiring is. Okay, where's my, here it is. So resistors and capacitors checked. Next, box number 2. Okay, box number 2 is this little guy. For some reason it came without the screws. Yeah, no biggie, I'll find 2 screws, but even better yet, I will design my own box. And I will tell you in a second why. Let me just, oh my god, I'm out of space already. So, this is the box, this is the camera, right? And this should go like this. Like they usually go. But, if you put it like this, see, it moves around. And it only takes like 1 millimeter, and one of the sensors might be out of range, meaning might be hidden behind the walls of the camera instead of being inside the hole. Now, to circumvent this possible issue, my plan is to build a little box that has one of the sides with steps. So it sits on the film rails, but there is a very shallow embossed part that actually goes inside the film gate, and it only needs to be as thick as the walls of the crate, of the shutter crate. So I don't want it to protrude inside, I just want it to sit flushly inside the film gate by 0.5 millimeter, it doesn't matter, and that will actually lock it in place in a very precise manner, and then I know for sure that all 3 sensors are where they should be. In order to be as professional as I can possibly be, I will make a little survey and I will measure as many cameras as I can from my endless supply of Soviet cameras to see if this film gate is actually a common theme, let's say. So that the dimensions are common among the Soviet cameras. They will probably differ a little, but at the end of the day, if I can get, let's say, an average, actually I don't need to get an average, I need to go for the smallest size, right? So in that case the box will fit all cameras. And I will measure Zorky 1, Zorky 1C, Zorky 4 and 6, Zorky 2 I don't have, Zorky 3 I don't have, Zorky 5 I think I have one, Fed 1 I have a couple, Fed 2 this one, Fed 3 both variants of Fed 3, Fed 5 all 3 variants, and that's about it. Fed 4 I don't have. Okay, and Kiev, yeah, also Kiev. And I will also measure my SLRs. I have some Pentaxes, some Yashicas, some Contacts, some a lot, lots of them, doesn't matter. I will try to measure them all and see what's the variation between the cameras, and maybe decide if I can get away with one box or more boxes, because a set of these is something like $5, I think, so they are very cheap. You can buy 2-3 sets and you can make lots and lots of boxes, and you can also buy the sensors separately, so you don't need the lasers if you go for this approach. All right, sensors checked, box number 2 checked. For the time being I can use this one just to start to put things into motion. Okay, so back to what I was doing. box and TFT, and then we have an empty envelope. This was for something, I don't know what. You need some chalk blocks, which are these handy connectors that will basically wire together multiple wires that go to the same common point, let's say ground. If you have 4 wires that all go to ground, then you can use the 5 chalk block, 2, 4, 5. You stick 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, and from the 5th hole you only leave with 1 wire that will go to the ground of the board, something like that. And in that case, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with these 2, because they only have 2. Why? Well, we'll see. I can also stick sets of wires just to keep everything on the lower side, because obviously you can use a very thick wire to go in this hole, and that means you can also use a bunch of smaller wires all going inside. Maybe I'll solder them together, I don't know, we'll see. I bought them because, again, they were easy, cheap. They were cheap to buy, good to have, and yeah, you never know when you need something. Alright, chalk block, check. I have another question mark for a light sensor that was optional, so it's not used for the moment, but it might be, and it's this one, I think. Yeah, TSTGY302 light intensity illumination module for Arduino. If I bought it, I will use it, and in the future I will. Okay, nano terminal adapter. This is from last time. So this is the soldered expansion board for the Arduino Nano. Obviously I don't need it. Alright, then I have a whole bunch of capacitors. You need 0.1 microfarads capacitors, and these were like $1. I mean, it's a lot more expensive to buy one from a local store than to buy like 100 or 50 or 100 pieces. And the same goes for the resistors, 10 kilo ohms resistors. I actually used one of these. It was somewhere around here, I mean what was left of it. I used one of these to transplant the ends, the wires, the ends of the wires, to extend some connections in my optical shutter tester when I didn't have an appropriate wire, because the wire itself was a piece of shit that I could not solder. And that's about it. Check on resistors and capacitors. Lightbox check. So you will have sensors behind the camera, and you will need a light box in front of the camera, and this is the light box. It's like a video light, also very cheap, very small. It has a very good square shape, so you can simply put it like this and it will simply stay in place, and then you will have your camera like this, the sensor in the back, and just test the thing. Now this one you can adjust the temperature. Obviously it's very jaggedy, but for this price I cannot complain. The matrix is very visible. I don't know how long it will last, but it's surprisingly bright. So it's very bright. It's phenomenally bright for how small it is and how cheap it was. Okay, USB powered, charged by USB-C. It has battery. Very nice. Okay, that's about it. That's all the parts you need. My first challenge will be, and I was talking about wires and how you can attach and detach them. I still need a USB-C and an RJ45 chassis connector. So my idea, or my goal, is to have an USB connector somewhere here where I can plug and unplug my USB-C cable, so it doesn't, so it's not attached physically to the box, and also the RJ45 connector that will allow me to connect and disconnect the wire that will be attached to the little sensor. So the little sensor will have a physically attached wire that I can connect and disconnect to the box, so I don't have cables running around when I'm not actually using the tester. I did not buy these the last time because I thought they were too expensive. Big mistake, I'll buy them for the next time. They are like $10 a piece, so they're not cheap like everything else for some reason, but they add an extra layer of elegance to the project, and I will buy them. Now I kind of regret not buying one for the optical tester, but I managed to cut a decent hole for the USB-C connector, but in this case I can't, because this one is very far away from the walls of the box. Alright, so with everything, all boxes come with this elastic that I don't really know. I don't know what you can use it for. Maybe stick it in. No, I don't know. Whatever. It will certainly come in handy at some point. So the whole idea is to get this board somewhere here. I will need some M3 screws, I think, and maybe some spacers or some nuts for them to raise the entire board a bit, and it will be something like this, so in the middle, or maybe this is an even better solution, so all the wires have more room to bend. Yeah, I think this is how I'm going to place it. And in this case I also need a very short USB-C to USB-C cable, so I can go from the USB-C connector on the board to the chassis mount USB-C connector. That I need to keep in mind. I'm very sure the Chinese guys have something like that. So this will be the board, all wires and stuff inside. Then I will have the display on top, something like this. Then I will have the buttons here, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 and space for that rotary encoder that I will drill from the get-go. Okay. Depending on how thick the wall of the case is, I'll see if I need to lose this washer or not. On the other project boss, I had to not use the washer. Okay, and that's about it. And I will use some decently long wires from these to the board. In case I need to open the box, I need to be able to actually open it. Okay, that's about it for today. This is obviously part number 1. I'm not going to show you the actual manufacturing steps because I will need to think about it and mark everything and cut and drill and so on. But I will show you probably something in between, so something in the middle of the build, and obviously a nice a nice fat video with the results. Oh, and probably you'll need a glue gun that I still need for my other project. I'm gonna buy one locally probably, and a soldering iron or gun, and everything needed to solder if you go for this version. So I bought these little buttons with the intention of soldering as much as possible. So I want to have a neat looking project. All right, thank you. I will see you next time with hopefully a working version, still under construction, but working version of this tester. Obviously check the description, follow the links, and yes, build yourself your very own very neat shutter tester that is cheap and it works. Thank you, bye bye.